Majestic, Majestic, Majestic. Welcome to the Majestic family. If you're new, a double welcome. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you're ready as subby, welcome back. So, before we get started, let's get all the ish out the way. Again, if you're new, welcome. I am ASMRmajestic, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Let's get this video to 300 likes. And in the comment section today, let me know, have you been following this case? What do you think about the case? And what do you think is going to happen? As far as I'm concerned, I have not been faithfully following this case. But when I tell you, I spoke to maybe 3 people over the weekend in regards to me covering this case. And then in the comment section on one of my videos last week, I saw the same comment in regards to people would love to hear my opinion on the case. Now, I gotta be honest, I have not been following the case. I actually watch TMZ every day. So I get like whatever TMZ gives out, I like to just stay up briefly on like celebrity gossip, but I don't really go too deep into it unless it really catches my attention. Over the weekend, like I said, I spoke to a couple people on Instagram, and I told them that I'm gonna do the story, but I had to find a perfect article. This morning when I woke up, I had 34 messages just off my Instagram alone in regards to, am I following the case? Can I cover the case? So here I am. Highly requested video. Now, like I said before, I have not been following the case. The first time I actually looked up, I was like, wait a minute. I was watching TMZ, and I think that's when the trial first took off. And TMZ had this photograph of a bed, and there was poop in the bed. Of course, blurred out for TV, right? So, the point of the clip or the video is Johnny Depp is saying that when he walked into this situation, he was done. And that situation was, he came home, it was Amber's birthday. I think it was like her 30th birthday party or something like that. And they got into some type of argument. He left the house, and I guess she continued on with the party or whatever. She had to go, like, the next morning. I think she had to go to Coachella or something like that. She packed up and left. When the housekeeper came in to clean up after the party in the bedroom or whatever, the housekeeper then found poop on Johnny Depp's side of the bed. And of course, someone called Johnny Depp and told him. Now, Amber tried to lie and say it was the dogs, right? Now, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a shit expert. I'm not a shit expert, a poop expert, however you use that word. I'm none of those. But I can tell you that she was trying to blame the poop on the dogs. Like, they have 2 dogs, right? The dogs are as big as my goddamn hand. Like, the dogs, not even my hand, maybe the palm of my hand. They were like little teacup dogs. She's gonna try to say that those 2 little dogs created those massive pieces of poop that was left on the bed. Like, you could have said that you ate something bad at the party and you couldn't hold it. Like, you came up with the dogs. Like, out of all your, listen, whether you're a model no, see, what we're not gonna do is lie on the dogs. He was like, I have cleaned up my dog's poop before, and that right there is human shit. So anyway, she actually lied, and then I think eventually she came forward and said it was him, well, it was her, and that it was a practical joke gone wrong. And but it wasn't clear if she was the one who did it or she knew of the perpetrator who did poop in the bed. But then I'm like, that must have been a hell of a scene or a hell of a conversation with whoever, because like, you're at a party, right? It's your 30th birthday party. What made you decide to say, you know what, I want to leave poop on the side of my husband's bed? I want to really piss him off. Because see, here's the thing. He said after that he filed for divorce, he knew it was over. Because see, like, if that was me and my husband did that shit, I would say something like, I would feel as if he's trying to tell me that I'm a piece of shit, or that you don't respect me enough. Like, that's so disrespectful. Or this is how I think of our relationship. It's shit. Something, that's where my mind was going. And then, say for instance, like, Johnny came home, right? I'm calling him Johnny like I know him. Imagine Johnny came home, right? And he's tired, and all he wants to do is get in the bed. How you gonna get in the bed with like poop? Like, what does she expect to happen? But that also goes to show you how her mind is. She's crazy. Because listen, I have been toxic relationship, abusive relationships, especially those on Patreon, know my situation, you know, my attack story here and there. But never in my wildest dreams in mind would I have thought of taking a poop in the bed on the side that my loved one sleeps on. Like, that is, or like, how do you have that conversation with your friend if you want to use their poop in the bed? Like, how did this come about? But anyway, that's the first time I looked up and I was like, wait a minute, what is happening? Number 2, I am totally disgusted on what I read this morning. And you know what, I think it was my oldest nephew who told me yesterday that there is a petition going out, and I think like 2.1 million people or something actually signed this petition. And I don't know what that sound was outside, but yeah, 2.1 people actually signed this petition because they don't want Amber Heard to be in part 2 of Aquaman. Like, this is the problem I have with society today. Like, I understand these people are celebrities, okay, big whoop. They're also human. Like, why can't 2 people just not agree, fall out of love, and get divorced? It's like now the public has to take sides, and those who are taking Johnny Depp's side wants to mess up her career. Really, peoples? Like, this is what we're doing because we don't like somebody. We're not gonna ruin their career. That is like newsflash to a lot of people. That's effing bullying. I'm sorry. You know, we are so involved in celebrities' lives and other people's business. It's like, really, we have nothing to do with the case. And the only reason why we know about the case is because they're celebrities. But besides that, they are human people. They're human. People fall out of love all the time. Like, but now we want to say, okay, she can't be an Aquaman too. Get the F out of here with that shit. That is so crazy to me. It's like if someone says something that someone doesn't like, now we have the power to cancel them or mess up their careers. Like, that's bullying, people. I'm sorry, that is bullying. At the end of the day, we as people looking in do not know exactly or for sure what's going on. You know what I mean? So for us looking in, we're gonna do petitions so this girl can't like make money or have a job anymore. we're doing the exact same thing that Johnny Depp is suing her for. That's crazy. Now we want to ruin her. Like, I can't. I can't, but let's just get into this case. But before we begin, I went to the grocery store, and that whole gum situation in that last video, that's not gonna happen again, like, ever. So, hope not too loud. I bought some gum. And then I couldn't pass up my gummies, my Coca-Cola gummies. And then my first love is my pear jelly beans. Now, something new has come up in my life that is actually changing my life. And if you care to know, you can follow me on Patreon. But I haven't been eating much, but I've been effing up some candy though. So I decided to do actually this video with jelly beans. Alright, so like I said before, I have not been following this case like most of you guys have been following. So a lot of this information I'm just gonna be learning as I read it to you. So if I have any questions, I'm gonna refer down to let me know, because I know a lot of you are really following this case. So let's see what this is about. And I actually typed in, because you know a lot of the articles seem to be the same length, and a lot of articles seem to be repeating the same thing over and over again. So this trial is supposed to be, I think, 6 or 7 weeks, right? And Johnny Depp took the stand first, and he said what he had to say. So I know this week Amber is supposed to be taking the stand this week and telling, I guess, her side of the story. But how did we get here? I don't know. I have no idea. One of the articles that I found before went way too much into like their past before they met one another, and that's not what this video was about. So I think I found the right article as in regards to what's going on with the case. And actually, this was just updated May 2nd at 1:09. This is the New York Times that I'm reading this from. NewYorkTimes.com. Alright. Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard. What we know. Johnny Depp is suing. Alright. First things first. Well, in my own, okay, and so Johnny Depp is suing for defamation. So that basically means is he's suing his ex-wife because he's claiming that whatever she said to, whether it was like a post on social media, on TV, a book, whatever she spoke, she must have talked bad about him, or he feels as if whatever she's saying is lies, and because of the lies, it's causing him to lose like endorsements or movie deals or whatever. So basically he's saying that the crap that she's saying out to the public is causing him not to work, and it's messing up his reputation. But I gotta say something, like, I love me some Johnny Depp in Universal. Disney World to me is really for like the little ones. But there was this Pirates of the Caribbean ride, and I actually stood online for 3 hours. Yes, you heard, 3 hours, 3 hours in line for that ride. And it was like a 30-minute ride. It was a stupid ride. It was one of those rides that like, it's like a nap for the adults and it's like a cool down for the kids. You know, it's AC, but like I noticed that along with me, a lot of adults that got on that ride, we were knocked out within like 30 seconds. Disney World is no joke when you have a bunch of kids and it's hot. Okay. But yeah, I really like Pirates of the Caribbean, and I had to say I was very heartbroken when I found out he was not making any more. I was like, what the anyway. So he's suing his ex-wife for basically ruining his reputation. The defamation trial in Virginia between the actors of Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, now several weeks into testimony, has become a fierce battleground over the truth about their relationship, with both sides accusing the other of repeated domestic abuse in what was unquestionably I'm gonna replace this word. Unquestionably a up marriage, and this marriage was so up and so toxic. It's insane. Like I said, I haven't been following but little bits and pieces there. Before a 7-person jury in Fairfax County Circuit Court, lawyers have questioned witnesses about the events of what has been described as a whirlwind romance that started on a movie set and soared into a barrage of fights and physical confrontations, the details of which vary widely depending on the account. Right, so this looks like it's not. Okay, so now I do know they met on a movie set, and it was like the Rum of Diaries or something like that it was called. And Johnny Depp was married at the time, and she had a boyfriend. There was a shower scene in that movie that they had to do a kiss scene or something like that. Johnny Depp said when he kissed her, there were feelings that should not have been. I thought that was so cute how he said that. He was like, it's just these feelings, and it shouldn't have been that way, but it was. And so, but anyway, that's when he felt something, and I think the following year he finally got divorced, and then she broke up with her boyfriend. But another interesting fact that I found out, they were only married a year, right? But do you know his daughter, which her name is, I think it was Lily, did not attend the wedding? And he said because those two did not get along for numerous reasons. Now, do you know how hard that has to be to not go to your father's wedding? Like, that means Amber must have been on some next shit. I wanted to point that out because I'm not taking sides, and you know, I'm usually the one that always takes the woman's side, but in this situation here, me being the one looking in, I can't. Because again, if his daughter did not go to the wedding and he said it's because they did not get along, you have to think what really happened. So alright, Mr. Depp, 58, sued Mrs. Heard, 36, for defamation after she wrote an article for the Washington Post referring to herself as a public figure representing domestic abuse. After more than a year of legal sparring, Mrs. Heard then countersued Dr. Mr. Depp, alleging that he defamed her when his former lawyer released statements saying her allegations of abuse were hoax. Now, in a couple of articles that I read in regards to what she wrote in that UK post, as of now, honestly, I can't say that I can side with Johnny Depp because everything I read, nothing said his name. And matter of fact, one of them it said something like it was like she was referring to all women as a whole. She was saying, like many women, she has been I think harassed and sexually assaulted by the time she was of college age. And I say college age because that stuck out of my head, because just by her saying college age, that meant that sentence when I read, like many women, I have been harassed and abused by the time I was of college age. That could be, remember, once you graduate from high school at 18, you are of college age. Like, she didn't say in my marriage, she didn't say in my relationship, she mentioned nothing of Johnny Depp. Now, he's saying because she says, I'm a public figure, he claims that everybody knew they were married and people were assuming it was him. But people are gonna assume no matter what. And so my thing is, like, again, I can't see him winning $50 million off of what we read right now anyway. But if I missed something, please let me know down below. If there was more to that article that I didn't see or maybe didn't read, please let me know down below. Many of the allegations being aired in the courtroom have already been heard in a British case, which Mr. Depp lost, in which the actor sued the Sun newspaper for printing a headline that called him a wife beater. And so, from my understanding, what I would think that happened is that Amber maybe did a interview for the newspaper, right? But let's face it, we all know how like tabloids and editors do. Like, they'll twist your words, you know, they'll like do a whole new headline, you know, they will pick the most unpleasing picture of you, you know, it's all to sell, right? So I feel as if like maybe she made a comment and then the editor or whoever made the headline wife beater and then put our article under that headline. So, you know, that could have happened. The trial, which started with opening statements, arguments on April 12th, is expected to last a few more weeks. So far, the testimony has been from witnesses brought forward by Mr. Depp. Mrs. Heard is expected to begin presenting her case later this week, which actually is this week. So, why is Mr. Depp suing Mrs. Heard? Mr. Depp's lawsuit filed in 2019 revolves around the 2018 article written by Mrs. Heard titled, I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. That has to change. Now see, again, if that's all she said, then, you know, how can you sue her for that? But then the editor probably wrote, woman beater. And then underneath it probably read, I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. That has to change. So, the article does not mention Mr. Depp by name, but in it, Mrs. Heard wrote that 2 years before the article's publication, she became a public figure representing domestic violence. Now see, that's my point. There are different articles stating different things on what she actually wrote. So if any anyone really knows or like who's really been following the trial, and let me know down below, and let me know what did she really say? Was it really that bad? And did the article, did it really, like, will we know it's Johnny Depp? I guess that's my question. In 2016, Mrs. Heard was granted a temporary restraining order after showing up to a California court with a bruised face, writing in an application for the order that Mr. Depp had thrown a phone at her face at close range. The actor denies this. In the application, Mrs. Heard wrote that Mr. Depp had been verbally and physically abusive to her throughout their relationship, detailing a recent incident in which she said he grabbed her by my hair and violently shoved her to the ground. Mr. Depp wrote in court papers that this was a lie and that she was the one who punched him in the face that night. You see, there's too much. There's too much. Ladies and gentlemen, if you know nothing else or learn nothing else from me, once you start putting your hands or have that thought on putting your hands on your loved one, it's time to go. It's time to go. It's time to go. It's time to go. This is not straight at all. Yeah, it's time to go. Right? No one should be putting hands on anybody, and no one should be ruining other people's stuff. Absolutely not. Mr. Depp's lawsuit asserted that Mrs. Heard's abuse allegations were an elaborate hoax that cost the actor his career and reputation. Mr. Depp brings this defamation action. Mr. Depp brings this defamation action to clear his name. Yeah, see, there's this interview that I always remember with Johnny Depp. It wasn't an interview. It was like a documentary or something. It was like a reenactment of Johnny Depp's life. I'm not sure where I watched it. But I do know Johnny had I'm calling him Johnny like I know him. But Johnny he had a really rough childhood, right? And so, because it was so bad, he did admit that he used alcohol and drugs not to party and not to whatever. He used it just to black out his childhood, and that is so sad. It must have been it had to be that effed up, right? For you to have to take substance abuse, but also think substances. But also, I also remember that he was one of those private people. I will never forget when he said after he finished his Pirates of the Caribbean, right, once he wrapped up filming, he would pack up and he would fly to his private island, and that would be it. We wouldn't see him. He didn't want to be in the public's eye. He didn't want to do interviews, none of that stuff. So when this whole trial came about, I was actually surprised on how publicized it was. But I wonder though, do celebrities have that option of saying, you know what, I don't want this case to be publicized? Can they do that? Can they say, I want a closed hearing? Can they do that? I wonder. Anyway. Okay. What did Mrs. Heard say in the Washington Post? The article says that after she became a public figure representing domestic abuse, she started to experience a backlash to her career. Friends and officers told me I would never again work as an actress, that I would be blacklisted, she wrote. A movie I was attached to. To recast my role, I had just shot a 2-year campaign as a face of global fashion brand, and the company dropped me. She wrote that she saw in real time how institutions protect men accused of abuse. Mrs. Heard was identified in the article as an ambassador as women's rights for the American Civil Liberties Union. Although the trial has become a sparkling inquiry into the couple's marriage, one of Mrs. Heard's lawyer, Ben Rottenborn, tried to impress upon the jury in an open argument the idea that ultimately the case rests on one piece of paper: the article. So, Johnny Depp is saying from like the bullshit she wrote in that article caused him his career, and she's saying that as a woman speaking up about public abuse got her blackballed. Now, this is my point. Like, we live in a society today that if someone don't like you, they can cancel you. Like, I can't get over. But that being said, I do believe that there is some truth to what Amber is saying. You know, we did a couple of cases, true crime cases, in regards to like women being in the military and afraid to speak up in regards to like being raped or whatever in the military, and it's like a lot of these women have no protection. It's like my word against yours, you know, and I think sometimes women do get shamed, and that's why a lot of us keep quiet, you know, because we're always like the one to be blamed or something, or you know, or they make us feel like little or embarrassed, you know. I will never forget, after my attack, I will never forget, like, one of the officers came to me and was like, do you think you could have prevented yourself from being, I said, if you finish that fucking sentence, we're gonna have a problem. And actually the other officer told him to leave, because like, what we're not gonna do is that, you know. So there is a sense, it's like, I don't know, it's like, oh well, if a woman wore tight pants, or if, you know, it doesn't matter what the woman said, what we're wearing, it doesn't matter. No one should be abused. No one should be putting their hands on anyone. Like, no. It is sad though. And it's also sad too that you know, a guy can walk into a police station and say, yeah, I was sexually assaulted by a woman. Cops are like, a woman sexually assaulted you? Yeah, it can happen. So, I don't know, society today, I don't know. So why is Mrs. Heard suing Mr. Depp? Well, she's only doing that because he sued her first, probably. Now, I have to say too, another article I read that during the divorce they had a settlement, and whatever settlement she had from the divorce, she was supposed to give it to charity. It was supposed to be like, I don't know how much she got from the settlement, but $7 million was supposed to go to a child fund or something, and another charity to domestic violence. And it was proven that she only paid $1.3 million, so she lied about that. And then she actually had her ex-boyfriend try to make payments to the charity. But that's another question I had, right? So say you want to give like $7 million to the cancer fund, right? But say something happens longer do that. What happens? Like, do they send you to collections? Because technically you're giving money away, and like you have to. Anyway, it was just a question. Yeah, because I'm still questioning that, because my thing is like, why would she have to get money from other people to pay this charity bill, unless once you sign something you have to pay them? I don't know. Okay, Mrs. Heard. Okay, so she's suing him because the fact that he's saying it's a lie. She's now suing him, saying that what you're saying is a double lie. So, Mrs. Heard defamation claim is against Mr. Depp, but the statement is centered on came from his former lawyer, Adam Waldman, who told the British tabloid The Daily Mail that the actress's allegations were an abuse hoax. Her lawsuit claims that Mr. Depp has authorized and conspired with Mr. Waldman, who was acting on the actor's behalf, to attempt to destroy and defame Mrs. Heard in the press. So, basically, what they're saying is that when she wrote the article, Johnny Depp basically said it was all lies, and that because he said it's all lies, he's basically calling her a liar, and because he's calling her a liar, it made her look bad, and because it made her look bad, she's now suing him. It's like, so he's suing for 50 million, she's suing for 100 million. Rich people problems. Mr. Depp testified that he had never struck Mrs. Heard or any other woman. Instead, he asserted that Mrs. Heard was the aggressor in the relationship. Engaging in angry fights, demeaning name-calling that would often escalate into physical violence. It can begin with a slap. It could begin with a shove. It could begin with throwing a TV remote at my head. Throwing a glass of wine in my face. See, that's toxic acts. No one should be in a relationship like that. It's not even worth it. So he's saying it could begin with a slap. It could begin with a shove. It could begin with a TV remote being thrown at my head. The actor gave his account of several confrontations at the center of the case, including an incident in 2015 when the couple was in Australia for the filming of the 5th Pirates of the Caribbean movie. Mr. Depp testified that Mrs. Heard was angry about a meeting she had with a lawyer about a potential. See, rich people in this prenuptial agreement thing, like, anyway, and threw a handle of vodka which shattered onto his hand, seriously injuring his middle finger. So I guess, Johnny Depp was like, you know what, maybe we do need a prenup. Maybe we do need to rethink about our finances. So anyway, I guess she found that out, and on the set of the Pirates of the Caribbean, she got mad. I was like, you want a prenup? Oh, okay, I got your prenup. And then threw a bottle. The tip of my finger had been severed, and I was looking directly at my bone sticking out, he testified. So basically saying that the bottle sliced his finger, and that the bone was, you see, and you still. During cross-examination, Mr. Rottenborn confronted him with a text message he sent to others in which he called Mrs. Heard obscenities, including calling her a worthless hooker. Mr. Depp ashamed about some of these text messages, suggesting that there was a certain level of creativity. See, my thing is like, okay, so we've all had fights with our man before, right? How many times have we did or wrote something in a text message that we really didn't mean, or didn't mean to say at that prompt moment, but we were just so angry that it came out, you know? Okay, then it says, most notably, Mrs. Heard. Who else testified? Mrs. Heard. Based on one of her lawyer's opening arguments, she is likely to give a very different account of the relationship, including what happened in Australia during the Pirates of the Caribbean filming. A lawyer told the jury that Mr. Depp ripped off Mrs. Heard's nightgown and sexually assaulted her, and Mrs. Heard said in court papers that Mr. Depp injured his finger while smashing a phone. So basically she's saying, no, he smashed the phone and that's how he hurt the finger. I didn't throw no bottle at him whatsoever. Mrs. Her lawyers have released an extensive potential witness list, which includes Elon Musk. Well, see, that was her, like, why would you want to bring up on trial, like, her ex-husband, her ex-boyfriend? Mrs. Heard exchanged text messages with Mr. Musk about her marriage that were used as evidence in the British case, and she said in the trial that Mr. Franco saw bruises on her face after altercation that is in dispute. Now, see, also too, in other articles I read, right, a lot of the cops were saying, yeah, we came out to the house, but all we saw was her crying. We didn't see no bruises. But does that mean the bruises weren't there? I don't know. Because sometimes the bruises don't come up until the next day. Alright, Mr. Depp's lawyer have already brought forward several witnesses, including a sister who acted as a personal manager, a physician who said he treated the actor for opiate addiction, and the couple's marriage counselor who saw mutual abuse in the relationship. I have to agree with that. And I didn't want to come out and say it. This is really bothering me. I didn't want to come out and say it, but, you know, this amount of abuse, right? It just can't all be one-sided. I don't know how else to make that sound better. Okay, like for instance, you know, I was in an effed up relationship before, and so yeah, they would pull up like a lot of nasty messages back and forth, but you know, I can say we both mutually had like effed up text messages, you know. People can run their mouth when they're angry, when they're upset, you know, but in a relationship like this, when one say no and one wants a prenup and one doesn't, you can tell it was like a mutual thing. This is not just one-sided, like, at all. I believe what he said is true, and I believe what she said is true. I actually really believe all that. But, like, this is going dead. I do believe that it was like a both, you know, like a back and forth. This is not just died in my hand. It just said baboo. But yeah, relationship like that, it has to be like both sides. It's a mutual abuse, whether, you know, I'm not saying like one hit one more than the other, but it wasn't just one. Okay, I'm sorry, no, I'm pretty sure she was going at it. I think it was both, to be honest. second home where the couple stayed during their 2015 trip, testified about the damage he witnessed in the home after that incident, describing broken glass, blood drippings, and a collapsed ping pong table, as well as how he found Mr. Depp's fingertip in a scrunched up piece of paper aimed the wreckage. Now, see, you can't make that up. Like, you just don't make up. You know what, though? I should see if we can find a picture of Johnny Depp's finger, his hand. I want to know, was it really like they're saying it is? You know? The court also heard testimony from a forensic pathologist who had evaluated Mrs. Heard, police officer who responded to a 911 call to Mr. Depp's penthouse, and a former agent for both actors, who said he believed that Mr. Depp lost a role in the potential 6th Pirates movie because of the abuse allegations. Terrence Doherty, the general counsel for the ACLU, testified that an early draft of the article, which was prepared by the ACLU, referred directly to Mrs. Heard and Mr. Depp's relationship, but that those references were edited out after conversations about, they decided to edit it out after a conversation about the terms of a non-disclosure agreement related to yeah, she fucked up. So, basically, from what I understand, it seemed as if when she did this interview for the British newspaper, right, she let it all loose. She let it all out. After she did that, she thought about it and was like, you know what, you can't publish that. You can't publish that because I signed an agreement when we got divorced, a non-disclosure agreement related to divorce. So the newspaper had to recant some of it, re-edit the whole article, and make it seem as if she wasn't mentioning her husband, Johnny Depp. That's some shit. See, gotta watch who you talk to. That right there, to me, that's it. The guy who wrote the paper let it all said, you know what, she told me everything about the relationship, but after she thought about it, she knew we couldn't post it because of the agreement she signed, and so they had to edit the whole conversation. Like, that's crazy. What happened in the British case? A judge found in 2020 that there was overwhelming evidence that Mr. Depp had assaulted Mrs. Heard repeatedly during the marriage, and that he put her in fear of her life. There appear to have been some restrictions placed on references to the British trial in Virginia, but those have not been disclosed to the public. See, it's getting messy, and like I said, I just from knowing that he had substance and drug abuse, I'm not saying he's abusive, but we all know sometimes when those two are combined, people can be, not in their right mind type of situation. I don't know much else about Johnny Depp and his other previous relationships. I don't, which is why I wanted to do this article, because I'm the person that don't have feelings towards either one. Although, like I said, I'm a sucker for Pirates of the Caribbean. No more Jack. I don't know. I feel as if he has issues, and I feel as if she thought that maybe, I don't know what she thought, but I don't think she's innocent in any of this either. There's too much back and forth, and there's too many people that can say, yeah, they fought, yeah, they did this and that, yeah, they did this, down to exactly what County, I guess I'll come back to this once we hear what Amber Heard has to stay on the stand. So other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you soon